Hi, welcome to the world of 3D and Blender. As name of this episode suggests, in 1 hour episode I will try to guide you through first time opening Blender, navigating its user interface, manipulating and creating objects, adding materials, rendering out and saving your image. All of this in 1 hour episode, so really you will become a 3D illustrator by the end of this episode, even though the forms we'll be creating are very simple and you can see the image we are going for on the screen right now. So that's the simple style I'm gonna teach you today, but you would be surprised how far the style could get you. You can serve clients with this, you can basically build your entire career using only very cute, stylized, boxy style if you are good with controlling lighting, colors, and stylizing objects. So this is what we are going to create. And of course, we'll be using Blender software to achieve this. And first step will be to go and download Blender if you didn't already. So just go to blender.org, or you can find the link in the description and just click download here and download the latest version for your system, whether you have a Mac or Windows. Wait for it to download, then run the installer. This is pretty much very standard, and then launch Blender. Now, when you launch it, you will see the splash screen here. And if this is first time for you running Blender, you will have a bunch of different options right here. Just leave them at default, leave the default Blender controls. Just basically confirm this and click away to dismiss the splash screen. And one more thing in terms of Blender versions, in some later episodes you might see some older versions of Blender since like version 2.8, but don't worry about this. These changes aren't so dramatic because they changed the versioning system lately. So what before was increasing like 2.81, 2.82 is now whole versions, so 3.1, 3.2, now this is version 4. So it looks like the current versions are miles away from the versions I used to record some of the other content, but don't worry about this because I always go back to those episodes and edit the content, add subtitles where it's necessary to show you that there is some change you have to be mindful of. So just don't worry about the Blender versions. And of course, this episode is recorded using latest Blender 4. Now with the Blender open, it might look a little bit daunting because it's really technical and there's a lot of stuff happening there. But also don't worry about this. I will give you only the necessary information as we go through the episode, so you won't be overwhelmed. And you definitely don't need to know where every button is and what every function does. So the first main component of Blender is this large window right in front of you. It's called viewport, and it's basically where all the magic happens. And the first thing you want to know when you want to work with software like Blender is how to navigate this viewport, how to look at your scene from different angles, zoom in, zoom out, and stuff like that. And for this, we have a bunch of controls in the right top corner. So let's explore them. First of all, there's this colorful gizmo right here. And basically, you can just click and hold, and you will see you can rotate around your object and your scene just like this. But it would be really tedious to every time go here and manipulate the viewport. So of course, Blender offers a variety of shortcuts, whether it's on the keyboard or a mouse. And to control the viewport in easiest way, you need to have 3-button mouse or a mouse with a clickable scroll wheel. And you just click and hold the middle mouse button and drag around to do the same rotation. Now it might be possible that you don't have access to 3-button mouse, or you're working on a laptop or something like that. In that case, there's a workaround. Just go Edit, Preferences, and in the input section you will find Emulate 3-button mouse. So if you check this box, you don't need to save anything, just close the preferences. Now if you hold Alt key and use left mouse button, you can see right here where I have the screencast, it identifies this as a middle mouse button, even though I'm physically clicking the left mouse button. So this is the emulation. So for example, if you have like an Apple Magic Mouse or you're working on a touchpad, holding Alt and using left mouse button will do the trick, though some of the shortcuts might be unavailable to you, especially those that use combination of Alt and left mouse button. But I will give you a heads up when something like this will happen. So let me go back and disable this. And now for more viewport controls, we have the zoom icon right here and the hand icon. Zoom, of course, self-explanatory. You click and hold and drag forward or back to zoom in or out, but you can of course use the mouse wheel to do the same thing. And then there's this hand icon. If you click and hold, you can pan around your object, around your scene, just like that. And if you want to do this with mouse, just hold shift and use the same middle mouse button to pan around. So again, to recap, middle mouse button to rotate, shift middle mouse to pan around, and mouse wheel to zoom in or out. And for the emulation, let me go back and turn it on. Alt and left click to rotate, Alt and shift and left click to pan, and Alt and control and drag to zoom in or out. So those are the basic mouse control. Let me disable this. And now that you control the navigation, it might happen that you will get lost, or lose the center of rotations and you don't know where your objects are. In that case, there's a very handy shortcut on the keyboard. You can just press period on your numpad on the keyboard, the one next to the 0, and it will return you to the center of your object, and you can just rotate around your object again. Now, in case that you are on a laptop without numpad, or you don't have this key available for whatever reason, you can use the tilde shortcut. That's the one next to the numbers on top of your keyboard, and all the way to the left, right above the tab, there's the button, and if you press it, you will get this pie menu in Blender, and there's a function called view selected, which is basically the same thing. So if you get lost, you can just hit tilde key and click view selected, and you're back. And basically these 4 things are what you need to be able to successfully navigate the viewport and to be able to return to your object whenever you need. And now, of course, the next thing you want to do is to manipulate the objects in your scene. And to do that, you first of all need to select them. And this is pretty straightforward. Just as in any other software, you just left click on objects and you're able to select them. Or if you have this tool active right here, you can just click and drag to select them. If for some reason you don't have this toolbar right here, if it looks like this, you will always see this little arrow here, and you can just drag the toolbar out like this, or use the T shortcut to show it and hide it. And if you want to deselect objects, you just click away and everything is deselected. Now, in terms of transformations and manipulating the objects, just select the cube right here and right on the toolbar. And again, if you don't have it here, just expand it using the arrow. You can see the move tool, the rotate tool, scale tool, and transform. Let's start with the move tool. You can click it and now you will see those arrows, which are color coded according to the axis. So if you want to move along the x-axis, you just click and hold the red arrow and drag your object around, or y-axis, whatever you need. And if you want to move this in relation to your camera view, you can just click this white circle and move it around like this. Now let's move on to rotations. And again, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to rotate around y-axis, you just click and grab this green circle and rotate your object. And again, if you want to rotate in relation to your viewport angle, just click and hold the white circle and it will rotate like this. Let me go back. And now for the scale, this is pretty similar. Again, we are able to scale along Y, along X, and there are these little squares, and these are basically combination of 2 axes, and they're color coded based on the axis which they exclude. So for example, if I don't want to scale height, I don't want to scale along Z axis, I will click and drag the blue square, and same applies for transformations. I can move, for example, if I don't want to move on X, I will choose the red one, the X one, and I'm only moving on Z and Y axis. And then there's the last transform tool, which is like unified version of all of these. So you can move, you can rotate, you can scale, and again, you can move and rotate. There's no like unified scale control right here. And basically that's for the transformations. And this is probably the easiest way how to intuitively control the position and rotation of the objects in your scene, though later we'll use shortcuts to make this even more easy.